How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. I'm here with my fiance.
Is that right?
This is, as always, Black Lives Matter. All cops are bastards and trans rights. Supporting channel. If you're not supporting that shit, get the fuck off this channel. This is Venom. When did this come out? 2018.
2018.
Yeah. Boy, where do we even start with this? Because this is not a part of the MCU. When we're doing this, we are trying to maybe get to No Way Home before you have to go back home.
We'll see how it goes.
Maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. It's a mad dash. We're trying to squeeze in as much as we can.
Yeah.
But that's why we're doing these right now. Which we were always going to do them before No Way Home anyway, but we're trying to squeeze all this in early. So, I have only ever seen Venom in Spider-Man 3 and in, like, cartoon. No, I guess I've seen him in video games, too.
Yeah.
I've seen a
You've seen a fair bit of
lot.
Venom.
I've seen a fair bit of Venom, but I haven't particularly... I think the only thing I've seen Venom as a, like, more heroic kind of character is, like, in the Neversoft Spider-Man game from like 2000. Like that game has Venom as a villain than more of like a heroic role.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna be a heroic role in this movie, but I have to imagine because he's the protagonist, it will be slightly less of a like straight up villain.
Yeah.
But either way, it might be also more of a horror story with just like the symbiote taking over and everything like that. But yeah, I don't know. I have this hat, but it wasn't even my hat originally. So I don't know what to say about this. Do you have anything to say about before we go into this?
Not like this is one where I did see it when it came out.
Oh right, yeah, you've already seen this.
So I don't remember it very much. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure I remember the basic beats. Yeah, this is of course part of the SSU, Sony's Spider-Man universe, named as such because they didn't want the word Spider-Man in it.
What is that? Is that including Sam Raimi's and the... I always say Sam Raimi's and Andrew Garfield.
The director.
I don't know who the director is.
Mark Webb.
Sure.
But no, the SSU currently consists of all the MCU Spider-Man movies.
Right.
Then Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius.
Okay.
And they've got a couple more plans.
Yeah, we got El Muerto coming. But yeah, so I don't know. The whole Sony universe thing, nobody gives a fuck about.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know how that's gonna work at all, really.
I don't know and I don't care. We were watching this primarily for the MCU, for No Way Home and everything like that. Again, you've already seen it. I'm fresh. Let's just get into it.
Yeah.
I don't think I know anything else about this. I don't think I've been spoiled anything, or I don't even know what the visuals look like or anything. I don't know anything. But okay, let's jump into this.
Yeah.
If you want to get the full length, check out the picture below for those months. You know how it goes. Okay, we are here for the discussion of this one, Venom. Again, I think I just had to stress, I really went into this going like, there might be some things I enjoy from this, but ultimately, it's going to be something I don't like, because it's going to be... One, I just didn't trust Sony. I just didn't trust Sony at all. Especially because... I don't like how do I put it? I like the Spider-Man MCU movies. I just don't like Peter Parker in the Spider-Man movies. So I don't trust Sony, just in general. But, also I like some of the games they put out. So they have such a weird mixed track record.
There's not a hard, this is exactly what you would come to expect from Sony.
Yeah, there's no real consistencies. I don't really know exactly what to expect, other than it's probably going to feel very generic, because I imagine they're going to want to not branch out too much and hit what they know are popular movies.
Yeah.
But and in general, if I had to guess what this movie was going to kind of be about going into this is probably what I would have guessed.
Okay. Yeah.
Not exactly this, but I would have probably guessed this is just like every movie nowadays, which I should like, of like the evil CEO and then, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I think the part that I hate the most is usually like, and now we're going to follow half the people in this workplace, and they're going to have B plots. Here's the funny man, here's the one black character, and like we just do that. It's just like, I hate the B plots in movies, especially. TV shows, I'm a fan of B plots. Movies, really not.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense because a TV show has way more breathing room for the B plots. Like, even if the episode, like, even if the episode is shorter, yeah, like, there's still more, like, the story that you're telling doesn't need that much time for the A plot, and therefore you have more, like, time that would be just kind of, like, spent on filler for the B, or for, you know, that you can instead put the B plot into.
Yeah, and, yeah, vice versa. Like, even if B plot is bad, it's not there for, you know, a long time or whatever. But yeah, so I appreciate that, like, we didn't do a whole long B plot with, like, Ginny Slate's character, the scientist.
Right.
Don't remember what her name was.
Same.
It was a very specific name. But yeah, either way, I enjoyed, like, the execution of this was extremely well done. Even, like, you know, his ex-girlfriend, like, you know, I would have expected to be following her for way more, and, like, the dance stuff to, like, I really appreciate how it was all paced and how it all, like, interacted with each other without any part of it feeling too slogged down or boring or whatever.
Yeah, like, all these side characters are defined by their relationship to the main character. And I feel like that is something that a lot of movies now don't want to do as a hard, like, you know that's how stories work. So we're going to subvert that a little bit by showing that these people have rich interior lives and their own, like, plots that they're trying to do, and we're going to tie them all up at the end.
Yeah.
Like, the main criticism a lot of people had when Venom came out, and also the thing that a lot of people who liked it said, was this feels like it came out in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know about that. Like, this definitely feels like it comes out in the mid-2000s, except there's... how do I put it? It is that kind of plot, but executed in a very 2020s way that I think makes it much, much better. I mean, it didn't even come out in 2020s, but I was trying to, you know...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, I mean, it is for better or for worse. Why I also thought you might like it, because from what we've seen, you do like the, like, early 2000s movies more than a lot of the, like, the Phase 3 MCU era movies.
Yeah.
Or, like, movies that are trying to do that kind of thing.
And yeah, I would say this is very early 2000s in that this kind of plot is being done in every fucking movie nowadays, but again, it's just being done in so much less interesting of a way versus the mystery aspect of this and just like the not sticking with the human stuff too long really helped. Like when I think of this plot line done for like mid-2000s stuff, like especially ones that I really enjoy would come to mind would be like X-Men or no, it was just Wolverine, or what the fuck was it called? Just called
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
No, it was just called Wolverine.
The Wolverine?
Yeah, the Wolverine.
The one in Japan.
Yes, the one in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to remember what fucking one that was. But yeah, that plot line, very similar to this, but again, a very big mystery aspect to it. It doesn't hit all the same beats that I would expect and everything like that. And, I just... I liked this. I don't know. It's hard to put it in specific words what makes this different from, and this is going to feel insane, but something like Free Guy or Ready Player One, or
I do
two that immediately come to mind of a very similar sort of thing.
Like, another part of it that really didn't strike me until this time is also that, like, Eddie doesn't become Venom in the sense that he doesn't get the full body form until, like, about an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
Which most movies now will not do because it is that hard, like, we don't want to do an origin story, we want you to, like, immediately have the hero, or, like, we'll show them and then it'll be more of a, like, oh, but I don't deserve to already be in the suit. Whereas this is a, like, you get Eddie all the way through the movie, and it's so focused on him, and, like, you know, Venom is not the, like, absolute main character. It's not a, like, when do we get to Venom? Because there's so much, like, you already like Eddie, and then when the symbiote comes onto him, it's way more of a affliction.
Yeah.
It's way more of a, like, I guess this is sort of the antagonist in the sense that it's fucking up Eddie's life, like, more than it's already fucked up, and, like, how do they deal with each other? How does it not kill him? Yeah,
very, like, anti-hero kind of thing of coming into somebody's life, fucking up their life a bunch, but also making their life much better. But it's like, you know, is this person to be trusted or not? You know, are you actually here to help me or not? And yeah, I'm a big sucker of those kind of things of like there's argument on both sides for making life better and worse.
Yeah.
And it's like, which side do you, like, fall on?
Like, even something as simple as the fact that Venom doesn't fix Eddie's heart, like, just automatically. The fact that he lets it degenerate, and we don't get a clear explanation to that, but it's, almost certainly just because he wasn't eating enough living things, or enough food. Like, he couldn't do it. And so he was trying to say in the moment, like, I can fix this. I haven't yet, but I can. You just need to give me some time.
And also probably, like, oh, I didn't realize you having a heart was that important to you.
Yeah.
Like, fine, if that's so important, I guess I'll do it.
Like, Venom's personality is so alien yet so relatable, like, because it can, like, leech off of Eddie's mind, and presumably the lady he was on beforehand as well.
Yeah.
Like, I really appreciate that we don't have to spend a lot of time with, like, this, with the slow build of, like, oh, I know words now, I know this, I know that. Like, he comes out of the gate with a very, like, realized, like, mind.
Yeah.
And the alienness is way more of a just like, well, I didn't think you would find this important. Or, you fucking suck for not jumping out of this building. I can survive this. I know you can survive it. Why are you scared?
Yeah. And yeah, I really appreciate that it has a lot of that, like, goofiness is, I don't know a better word to say other than goofiness, but, like, like, Venom is scary because it feels like a, like, teenager or just like an it feels like an edgy person. Like, it feels that way. Like they're putting on airs.
Like, I appreciate the 1-2 punch of, number one, this being a movie about a character who is said to be a loser, and he is, like, he's very schlubby and losery all the way through. Like, I like him a lot. He's a good person. But he never loses that air of, like, being the guy who would eat something out of the trash, being the guy who just, like, is always wearing the same hoodie 24/7. Like, he doesn't do the big glow up into, and now I'm a badass, I'm Tony Stark. It's just like, no, he's always gonna be like this, because that's just kind of how he is.
Yeah, they're both losers.
Yeah, and then the big twist that Venom hits you with of, I'm also a loser on my planet. Like, I am putting on airs. I am trying to be cool. Like, you don't know me. No one here knows me, so I can try to get a second chance at being cool. But anyone who knows me knows that I suck. And that immediately makes so much of his personality also make more sense.
Yeah. And, like, everybody's telling Eddie to just go along with, like, what everybody needs him to do, what you have to do in order to do the stuff that you want to do, and like that. And just, go along with what your boss says, essentially.
Yeah.
And, like, Venom is also in that sort of role, and then realizes, like, oh, I guess I don't have to do this. I can do what I want to do. I can do what I enjoy.
Yeah, I don't have to follow my boss. Like, again, I love the fact that Riot is the boss. He's the team leader.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't get that till the end, but it's so obvious in hindsight of, like, oh, yeah, he's the one with the, he's doing the mission. And we don't focus on, like, that's not really a B-plot. It is in the sense that we cut back to him sometimes when, he's traversing the country.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do a big interior monologue thing. We don't need to know his goals, because it's so simple.
And it didn't feel that weird to me, because I thought that was Venom for most of the movie. I did not realize that, like, that was like a mystery thing that maybe if you see trailers and stuff like that is not a mystery at all. But going into the movie blind, that was a mystery of, like, which one of these is, like, not which one of these, but, like, there was 2 black ones, and it was like, which one of these is Venom? Because we had, like, the greenish one and the bluish one, but they both die.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, okay, that wasn't anything. But I really thought that was going to be a bigger thing as well. But yeah, very curious where Carnage comes from. Like, was there a 5th one they had that escaped? But they said they had 4, right?
Yeah, they had exactly 4.
So, did one come down here somehow? Hitch around on a comet, maybe, or something? I don't know.
Maybe, because, yeah, there's still an entire comet of symbiotes that, and as they said, there are millions of them on this comet.
And, like,
or, like, on their planet, at the very least. Like, we don't know if that is the same thing as the comet or not.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Life Foundation also said there are millions on the comet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I assume if Venom is the loser, and Riot is the leader, the boss, the big, got a lot of gadgets, not gadgets, but like weapons CEO kind of role there. I assume, based on what we got with, I think his name was Cletus?
Yeah, Cletus.
Cletus. Seems like a kind of serial killer, classic hillbilly Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of killer sort of thing. So I assume Carnage will be a serial killer on the comet as well, sort of thing. Like, oh, I was a serial killer of this, like an alien serial killer. Now we come together. But again, very similar to, I imagine, what Riot would want to do anyway. Or probably not, actually. Probably more like, I personally, just me, want to take over this planet. Is, I imagine, what we'll do with Carnage. But yeah, also, like, I don't know anything about Riot. I assume Riot's actually, like, from the comics, and actually it's probably pretty big. Like, I haven't heard of them at all, but I also didn't know about Carnage at all until I think this movie was coming out. And then, like, the only thing I know about Carnage is just I read a Marvel comic that came out in, like, 2020 or somewhere around there, somewhat recently. That was like an Infinity comic that was like Venom versus Carnage. It was a continuous thing, but I only read like one issue. I don't know why I did, but it was just because it was there. But yeah, so that's really all I know, like why his name is, Cletus, and he's red. That's all I know.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so I don't know anything else about any of the other symbiotes besides those two. But I assume Riot's big.
Yeah, Riot's not that big.
I'm surprised. He seems like he would be big, just based off like having giant scythes weapons and shit like that.
But yeah, the Life Foundation stuff is also very like this '90s plot about this like independent corporation trying to get more symbiotes.
Okay,
that's where they pulled a lot of this stuff from, but very remixed still.
Yeah. And yeah, we got Jameson at the beginning being, the astronaut, like one of the astronauts, the one that survived. Don't know if he actually survived or not. Like, they could, do something with that going forward. But it also seemed like he was rejected by it, so I don't know what they would do with him. I highly doubt they would throw a fucking man-wolf in the middle of this, but you never know.
He could be a man-wolf, he could be a Colonel Jupiter. I believe there's a god-wolf he could also be. Yeah, he's just a character out there now in the SSU.
Yeah.
Or dead, who knows?
Or dead, yeah, that was the main point. Like, he might be dead, he might not be, I don't know. But, yeah, I was also expecting there to be way more slight references to, like, Spider-Man stuff, but I didn't notice any, and I appreciate there not being, like,
not really.
Stuff shoved down your face of, like, oh, and that's the Daily Bugle. Like, Daily Planet or Daily Globe is also a thing in that universe, but it's not, like, as big as the Daily Bugle or anything like that. Or actually might be bigger, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the competitor, at the very least.
Yeah, it's the one that Peter went to like, sell his photos to first. But either way.
But yeah, I appreciate that I really expected when I first saw the movie for them to really do a lot of like, well, we can't have him like be like hosted by Spider-Man first, the classic explanation. But I still thought he'd be more Spider-Man-y.
Same.
But they actually did a really good job of not doing that, which I know would also make him less popular. But like he doesn't ever web sling. He doesn't like use his his self in that way at all. Yeah. There are very few like Spider-Man-y things he does. He's way more pure Venom-y. Like, way more just big, muscly, like, when he climbs, it's like smashing into the walls instead of, like, sticking. Yeah. Yeah. The one downside of that is also, like, his design is, very black and gray. Oh, yeah. Whereas, like, it doesn't have, like, the big white spots.
Okay,
like,
fair point.
Yeah, like, they still make it work by having the gray streaks in there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Like, it didn't click with me until you just said, like, oh yeah, it does not have the classic Venom design. But yeah, it's a big, like, if they did that, they would have to explain why he has the classic Venom design. Like, where did this come from? Yeah. But yeah, the movie looked incredible. When he's riding the motorcycle and it does the shots of his face as he's riding it, it's like the only thing in the entire movie that I was like, that doesn't look very good. But aside from that...
Yeah. The CG looks really good. Also, the lighting is very good for a thing that is like so much about people, wearing black body armor and two symbiotes that are both extremely dark looking, and just like so much of it's shot at night. Like it would be very easy for it to be a big muddy mess, but it isn't. Like there's the only times where it is like hard to follow are like the times where like Venom's attacking people in the big like tear gas cloud where like you're not supposed to know what's happening, and they're going for way more of a horror vibe.
Yeah.
And even in there are very clear sequences where it's like, okay, we're clearing it up so you can see what the hell is happening.
And yeah, like, I complain so much about movies, games, anything that is just a classic gray and black and browns and all that. But I think actually the lack of, like, browns in this actually makes it stand out way more. It is black and whites and grays, and that's it. Like... And I really, really appreciate, how consistent that is. Like, there is so little other light, or other, like, light sources, or just, like, other colors in general anywhere. Like, car tail lights and, like, the convenience stores are, like, all I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah, it also does make the, like, when they do introduce, a colored light, it pops way more.
But yeah, man, we talk about lighting all the time. This movie did not have, like, extremely good lighting, but it had way better lighting than I'm used to in movies.
Yeah, it's actually very surprising.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're trying to keep this discussion a little bit short because we're trying to do Carnage in the same day.
Oh yeah.
And again, we're trying to squeeze in a bunch of shit, so this might be a shorter one than normal. But yeah, is there any like specific thing that you want me to talk about? Or I will say, like, I assume this was probably like a PG-13 movie.
It was.
Which I actually like.
Okay.
I thought I was going to dislike it as the movie was going on, but there's moment like the moment at the end where Venom eats the guy who's like holding up the store for protection money. Like, I doubt that would have happened even if this was an R-rated movie, and like just because I don't think they would do that with that much blood and everything like that. But like, I like that moment. Like, they can do darker stuff and more death by not showing the blood.
Yeah,
like
it's a very like American cinema thing. Of like, because so many people die in this movie, and Venom is a lethal character. Like, Eddie doesn't want Venom to kill innocent people, but like multiple heads are bitten off. That guy is just murdered in front of a lady. Like, that moment wouldn't have been as comedic, I think, if it was super bloody. Like, it could still make it work, but it is really the fact that she's shocked, but also she's not like screaming or hollering or anything. She is just like, Eddie, what the fuck was that?
Like, there's a art to the, like, you can do something way more violent without the blood actually being there, and people will be like, I'm rooting for this. Rather than, like, if that same scene happened where there was a ton of blood, there would probably be a section of the audience that was like, that was too much.
Yeah, like, I'm not rooting for him anymore.
Yeah, but it's like, the lack of blood makes it better. And it's again, like, the kind of thing that I personally wouldn't care, but I'm glad it is that, so that way that scene could happen. But yeah, and like many stuff like that throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, and they do manage to still do a lot of stuff that is very disturbing and visceral, whether it is like, the homeless people just being murdered in order to do the testing, whether it is like Eddie's leg being shattered and then Venom just like fixing it immediately.
Yeah. Like,
there's so many disturbing things without it having to be gory specifically. Plus, like, a lot of this movie focuses so much on, like, the psychological side of it. Like, the fact that, for a lot of it, like, Venom's obviously real, but you could also interpret it as Eddie just going nuts. Like, there's so many things where, like, you can't tell what's happening, or he's just talking to something you can't see. Like, it creates a way more of a psychological horror energy to it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It is... Yeah, it's also way more, like, thriller than it is horror. Like, I thought they were going to go very heavy on the horror, but it was just way more thriller.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
As well as, like, I appreciate the big villain of this movie. I was like, how are they gonna do this with Carlton Drake being the big villain? Big dumbass energy. I'm like, oh, like, of course he's gonna get a fucking symbiote and like do all that shit. But I appreciate that even with that, Riot is barely the big bad of this. Like, I really thought when they separated and then Eddie and Drake were having like a fist fight, I really thought we were also going to see Riot and Venom fighting, just as like the suits, not just as the suits, but just as like the goop fighting each other, or like trying to get back to their host, but like pulling each other, like trying to stop or something. But we didn't like get any of that, and I was actually really, really surprised. I thought that was like the obvious thing you would do in that moment. Yeah. But again, I appreciate that Drake is the main villain. Riot is just kind of there.
Yeah, like
it's a threat, but it's not our like antagonist.
Yeah, like 99% of all the things that are impacting our heroes are because of Carlton Drake. Like, Riot can't do anything without his rocket or his resources or like, all of that stuff. He's just, he is being a parasite. He's just piggybacking on all the evil that's already being done. Yeah,
that's pretty much all I have to say for this one. Yeah. Again, we're trying to go short on this one. But yeah, hopefully we'll have, or not hopefully, but I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say in Carnage, but I'll get right into that.
Yeah. I do want to say on a like historical note, this movie does end with a trailer for Into the Spider-Verse, and it is a like in another universe. Like, it's clearly trying to tie it in a sense.
Okay, yeah.
And that is part of why when Sony was saying, we're going to do a universe, it's the Spunk or the SSU or whatever, a lot of people immediately went, okay, so the two main movies are Venom and Into the Spider-Verse. Like, they're part of the same continuity.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, they're not. I mean, it is, Into the Spider-Verse is a multiverse, so it can be, obviously. But as far as as far as anyone has said, even with Sony, they've never said, by the way, this is definitely happening, or like Venom will appear in the next Spider-Verse or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, thank God we didn't get a Venom will return.
Venom will return.
But yeah, I loved just seeing him struggle to, cope with having this parasite inside him. I love the just constant, I have a parasite thing. And just, again, excellent portrayal of Eddie Brock in this. Super fantastic. Like, such a good loser kind of a character.
Yeah, and like Tom Hardy's not afraid to get dirty and sweaty and gross. Like, so much of this movie is him being gross and being a guy you don't think is cool. Yeah. He also does the Venom voice, so there's a lot of him just like talking to himself in the movie. Like, it's it's so much of just one guy in this movie.
I absolutely love it. Like, yeah, I fucking relate to this person so much. I love him. It's so, like, God, how is somebody so gross and disgusting so sexy? Like, this whole movie was just an hour and 30 minutes of me just falling in love with Eddie Brock.
I mean, it truly is, though. Like, there's so many movies that are about why is this gross, stinky, ugly guy, how did he get such a hot girlfriend? And most movies are just like, yeah, he did it because in our world he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
And so he was able to force her to do this movie.
But this one, you actually understand it.
Yeah, like, he doesn't even have that charisma that Carlton Drake has. He just has this, like, this vibe to him.
Yeah. And it's not even like, he is not like a bad boy kind of like thing at all. He is just really real. Very, very salt of the earth.
Like, when I see him riding the motorcycle and he's wearing a leather jacket, I don't think he's doing it because it's cool. I think he's doing it because he can't afford a car.
Yeah. It's
like it is still cool, but it is also that very, like, everything he does just feels very, like, I am actually living in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. Like, giving the $20 to the homeless lady.
Oh, yeah.
Buying a tuna sandwich and to drink it with Pepto-Bismol is like, I love you. I love you. You are so sexy. How is a tuna sandwich with Pepto-Bismol sexy? I don't know, but it is. Also, the motorcycle, like, having that, like, X thing on the front of it, was that, like, from anything specific?
I don't think so.
It's just such a cool design.
I don't know if that's just how the motorcycle is, like, the brand.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I like it. It's cool. Maybe want to buy a motorcycle.
Oh.
It worked. But yeah, also, his ex-girlfriend's role in the movie was good. Always a fan of, like, the Dan kind of character of just, I don't like you because you're dating the person I was dating, but you are a good person.
Yeah, and a lot of things do the Eddie and Venom are in a gay relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And this does it a little bit. It is still very clear, like, Venom wants the two of them actually to get together.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to be a wingman, but also, he's there, he really likes Eddie. It's so much about it is, like, I want to save the world because of you. Like, because of what not even because you're a good person, but just because I like you, and I want to, like, do this forever.
Yeah.
And I do interpret the kiss thing as a, like, I do think it was the symbiote who wanted to kiss Eddie.
Think so.
I think she also clearly wanted to kiss Eddie, but I think they both wanted to do it, and she was just trying to go like, no, it was just the symbiote.
Like, I am literally inside of you, it has this almost, like, asexual gay relationship sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I really loved like, that was definitely something I heard going into this, like, oh yeah, it's super gay, and I was like, maybe Carnage is more gay than this one, but this one was very light on the gay subtext.
Yeah.
It was there, but very light.
Yeah.
Hoping Carnage has more of that. But yeah, the relationship between Eddie and Venom is just everything. It is everything.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, that's it for this one. We'll see you guys for Carnage. Until then, get the fuck out of here.